Nice. That was a lot of chords.
Oh, there's chords there floating around, just doing their thing.
All the people are confused because they're like, I can't. Is he plugged in? Is he plugged in? He's not plugged in.
It's the power of rock.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to That Pedal Show live VCQ. Dan here.
Mick here. Hello. Welcome everyone.
Yeah, hope you're all wonderful.
Yeah. And if you're not wonderful, we hope you're doing all right.
It was Father's Day. It was Father's Day on the weekend.
Oh, yes.
And my son came downstairs and grumbled something at me. And, yeah, I've been fairly uneventful. We've got a lot going on. We're moving house next week.
Oh, I thought there was going to be some really brilliant end to that story. Like
No.
Presented with you a
How long have you known me now?
Yeah.
So, and no, but just wishing all the fathers out there a happy Father's Day for the weekend. Hope it was great. Hope you had, a great fatherly weekend.
Did they shower you with gifts, Dan?
Yeah, I got some dark chalk, which was very nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Socks? Any socks?
No.
I am running for government, and when I get voted in, Dan.
Yeah.
When I become Prime Minister, I'm going to make it illegal for socks not to be given on any birthday or Christmas.
Okay.
You can never have too... Well, of course you can have too many socks, but it's rare to find oneself in a position where you have the... when you're choosing your socks in the morning, what process do you go through?
It's really easy.
Yeah.
I've got, apart from just a few... like colourful socks, I've got like 20 black socks and 20 white socks. So it's like jump in.
So am I right in saying that when the washing is done at the weekend or whenever you do it, you don't meticulously pair each pair of socks and put them like that in your drawer?
No, but I know you do.
It's when I open my drawer of socks, I'm like, what kind of sock day is it today? And sometimes I'll pick a pair of socks and I'll be like, nah.
I'm not feeling you today.
Not those socks.
Right. But on what day would you wear those socks? What would need to be happening?
Well, it depends. If I'm feeling like, yeah, it's like a red sock day. But if I'm feeling a bit, or if I think I might end up in hospital, I just need...
Hang on. You would wake up in the morning with the feeling that somehow...
Don't you ever think, like, if I get hit off my bike or something like that and they've got to cut my boots off, the socks need to be okay.
No, my mum would always warn me in the mornings, though. Do I have clean underpants on?
It's the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You're less worried about your undercarriage coverings than your socks.
No, my undercrackers are always in reasonable condition, Daniel. You know what they say? Dirty pants, clean body. For all the Rick Mail fans out there, if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. We do this every Monday. We just had a day of filming today, and we're both feeling a bit a bit sort of played out, I would say.
Yeah, I'm emotionally bereft.
Yeah. Anyway, Jeremy Modge says, "Salut, Ninja." Sebastian Brawl is on. BV Ninja. BV, thank you so much for moderating, as always.
Yeah, legend.
Thank you, too, for your input on a couple of matters this week, which I'm sure will come up in the questions. David Pekarski. He says, what's your newest pedal or gear acquisition? Mine is a Walrus Audio Monument Harmonic Tremolo in neon paint job. Get in. What kind of neon is it? Neon. Greetings from a cloudy Newcastle, says Andy K. Midsummer's greetings, no less, given that in the Northern Hemisphere it is the longest day of the year.
Oh, yeah. These are the pictures of everyone at Stonehenge and Avebury.
Yeah. Going, wow, it's the longest day of the year.
Yeah. It's like, 30 seconds longer than
it's great, though, isn't it?
Tomorrow.
I mean, if it wasn't cloudy and raining. It wasn't
cloudy, yeah, right.
Greetings from the Netherlands, says Erdem Ugur Alici. Kevin Mack. Hello.
Ulandsberg, all the best from Germany.
Jeff Harper, hi Jeff, great to see you here. Brad Schultz, hello from Orlando, Florida. Hello from Heidelberg, says Sebastian Broll. Mike Doctor says, excited I get to attend one of these live shows. Well, welcome.
Welcome indeed.
What's for lunch, says Michael Hennessy. We've passed lunch. I had heated up grains with a can of mackerel. What did you have, Dan?
I just had an egg salad with some prawns.
Yeah. Nice. Prawn and egg. What a great combination.
Yeah, it's really good.
Hi from Belgium, says Bart Hendricks. Hi, Bart. Jeff Harper. Anyway, a cup of noodles. Love from Santa Barbara, California. What was that? It was Alan Partridge, wasn't it? Would you like a cup of beans, Mr. Partridge?
It's hotter than the sun.
G Barge, hey G, nice to hear from you in Northern Cal there. Good. We're all on. We're all here. John Reed, Stowe Market. It was just one overdrive too many. Says 18 would have been perfect.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Eagle Ray Rob says, greetings from hot and muggy North Carolina. Summer has officially arrived.
We had our summer.
Yeah, it passed through here, didn't it?
Yeah, just under 2 weeks long.
Yeah.
It was nice while I was here.
There was sun. Yeah. Stuart Tate, hello Stuart.
Hey Stuart.
Nice to hear from you. Yeah, cool. Savannah, Georgia, says Robert S. Cooper.
Have you done Georgia and
I haven't.
South area?
I've been to Nashville and I've been to Tejas, but I have never been to Georgia, I don't think.
I watched this show on American Barbecue, and cooking shows is my guilty pleasure. And I had this American Barbecue Championship thing, and it was incredible.
They're pretty serious about the barbecue, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
United States.
Oh, yeah. And it was, I think it was down in Georgia. It was just, so good.
Okay, then let us get to the board of chat and see what delights there are. David Olson is first up this week. David says, hi chaps. If I were to put an amp in a box pedal in the loop of a Victory V40 to create a drive channel, if I wanted to boost it for solos, would the boost go in the loop or in the front of the amp? Okay, so he wants an amp in a box in the loop of the V40,
right,
to create a drive channel, and then he wants to boost that for solos. Would the boost go in the loop or in the front of the amp?
Has to go in the loop after the amp in a box pedal.
Yeah. Otherwise, all you'll do is you'll get more overdrive.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a good way to do it, actually. Really good way to do it. So yes, into the front of your V40 with your guitar and whatever other pedals you've got, out of the loop into your channel 2 pedal, out of the channel 2 pedal into your boost, and as long as you've got that master wound up and you've got it in high power mode, you should get a reasonable boost. Now, interestingly...
Sorry, this is the V40 preamp pedal. Is that right?
No, I think he's talking about the V40 amp.
Oh, okay, because if you put an amp in a box pedal in the loop of that amplifier, you've got to find a way. You've got to split. It's tricky because you can't go into the amp and then into the amp in the box pedal into the preamp, because you've got a preamp going to the preamp.
It'll be okay because it's pretty clean, the V40. So what you're doing is you're essentially cascading it.
Yeah, but you're taking that line level preamp signal going into an overdrive pedal.
It'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, depending on as long as the pedal isn't too gainy, it'll be fine. I've put boosts and stuff second.
My boosts are fine. I just thought we went the amp in the box thing. Yeah. Just watch your gain levels on that. It might.
Yeah.
You might need to turn the gain down a bit.
And to make that even more complex, I've got a feeling it's a post-phase inverter master on a V40 as well. So it might be that there's not enough headroom in the loop either.
Okay.
But try it. Actually, I was messing around with some overdrive pedals yesterday and found an absolutely brilliant pedal that I don't know if you've tried, Dan. Ever tried that?
No.
Zvex Channel 2.
Right.
And it's just volume and gain, and it's like the second channel of your amp. It's really, really brilliant.
Nice.
Really great, boosty, slightly overdrivey, full range. Zvex Channel 2. I like that a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to give that a go.
The Texan Tyler. Hello, Texan Tyler. Greetings from that Marvin Gaye song, Texas.
That Marvin Gaye song.
Sexual Healing?
Greetings from Sexual Healing in
Texas.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
I thought the impromptu jam last week was great. Can't wait to see this week's show. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Hello from Indianapolis, says Connor Renshaw. God, everyone's coming from all the cool places tonight, aren't they? I mean, I don't mean temperature cool, I mean, cool. Nice racing there.
Indianapolis 500.
Yeah, they race bikes there sometimes as well.
Indianapolis 490.
Which is much more interesting. When EQing an amp, treble and bass are easy to deal with, but mids remain elusive. In your words, describe the sound of mids, how to identify it, and why it remains so haunting to some players.
Haunting mids.
Oh God, I sort of feel like I should be able to do this in real time. Speak, Dan.
The mids thing is so interesting. If you look at, say, something like a Fender Twin, Pro Reverb, those sorts of things, you've got your bass and treble. The midpoint is basically fixed. So if you've got a fixed midpoint, bass and treble, as you turn the bass and treble up, you end up with this scoop sound. Bring the bass and treble down, and you'll end up with this mid-hump sound. Generally, for me, mids, frequency-wise, if you've got low mids, 700, upper mids, mids, normal mids 900, upper mids 1.2, 1.2, that whole area there. So, and it gives it a honk. Imagine a cocked wah, sort of a bit back from the toe down position. Have you just added a whole bunch of mids?
No, I was going to do it and I'm too scared. I was going to affect the frequency range of our voices, but it doesn't make much sense in guitars.
Well, I mean, think of the sound of my voice anyway. It's just all mids. It's so unsatisfying.
Honestly, the easiest thing to do is to pick up a graphic equalizer pedal, identify the numbers associated with each slider, and know what Dan just said about frequency, and push them up and down, and then you'll hear it plain as day. As plain as day.
Yeah.
Bass is important to guitar, but it's not that important, because once you're in the band, you actually don't need much bass.
And as a matter of fact, it can be a problem.
Yeah.
Too much bass.
Having a nice bassy sound at home when you've got loads of overdrive on, that's one thing, but it's pretty useless to you in a live mix. And as a matter of fact, is one of the reasons why all those metal dudes used to use a tube screamer in front of their cranked whatever it was, because it just lops a load of bass off that you don't need. The other problem with bass is it takes up a lot of power to reproduce, so your amp will overdrive more. So if you turn the bass down, turn those trebles up and the mids up, it's the upper mids from about 1K to 4K that give you let's talk about nose through to bite. And by nose we mean those frequencies, and by bite we mean kind of on the edge of distortions. And then anything up from there, like 6, 8, 10, 12K, is really what we would think about as air, presence, and up there. So that's all important for audibility. And it's those frequencies that really suffer badly with digital modelling, in my opinion.
Right.
Because they have to chop all that off, or at least fold it right back down, because it creates so much noise. In the analog spectrum, you've got it going all the way up and up and up and folding back down into itself. And even though you can't perceive that necessarily with human hearing, it is important with the harmonics it creates back down through the spectrum.
Indeed.
So lots of people say, oh God, don't even worry about treble frequencies on guitar after 10K. They're not important. Well, they really are. So anyway, yeah, get a. Sorry, I'm now yabbering.
Get an EQ pedal.
Get an EQ pedal
Have a
and
play.
listen. And all of your audibility, everything that gets you heard, is from 1K up.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Not to say the other frequencies aren't important.
No, exactly.
But yeah, the stuff that right that edge of that note.
And in between 500 to 1K is where you get that howling feedback.
What is it? Nice. Very good.
Yeah. Sorry. Why does it remain haunting to some players? Because it is where the voice of your guitar lives.
Yeah.
I did see a used haunting mids pedal.
All right.
JHS haunting mids at Coda the other day. I nearly bought it and I thought, no, not buying it. Don't need any more pedals. Andrew McNeil from Canada says, hello from sunny Alberta. Hello, Alberta. I decided to try wet dry this weekend with my new Cali Tweed.
Nice.
Fender Vibro Champ, and now I get it. It is especially glorious noise. Noise. D&M Drive, Rat and Fuzz Face, DD200. Suggestions for a reverb.
The new UA reverb is spectacular. Obviously, we're both big fans of the CXM from Chase Bliss. But you've got things like, where is it? I saw it earlier. The MXR reverb is really, really great. Depends, if you just want a simple on-off reverb pedal.
TC Hall of Fame.
Great. Really great.
With the mash foot switch is great. Boss RV6 is really good. You're obviously a fan of Boss with your DD200 there. All good stuff. And all of those multifunction modern reverb pedals have your kind of plate, room and hall algorithms, which is kind of the ones you want to mess about with. And then if they've got a shimmer and
all that stuff. The new Neighbour is all.
Yeah, Immerse.
Immerse.
That's really excellent.
Really, really good. The Walrus Audio Fathom.
That's excellent.
Really excellent reverb.
Yeah, Walrus Audio Fathom. I think that's what I'd go for.
Yeah. Yeah, I use that for ages, actually. It's wonderful.
Jack Spicer. Hello, Jack.
Hey, Jack.
He says, hello from Michigan. If the Strat and Telly were never invented, what guitar would you be playing today and why?
I'd be sitting alone in my room crying and not knowing what for.
Playing the piano. That is how you play the piano, by the way. I know.
What would I be... that's a really good question. Would I even be playing guitar? Because if we only had Les Pauls to play, would all of that music that inspired us to play have happened? Boy. Gretsch. I'll be playing Gretches.
335, I think.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Nice question.
Good question, yeah.
Gologamoth says, hi chaps, how much playtime do you give a piece of gear before you decide you like it or not? I have a secret
good
machine
question.
and I can't seem to bond with it.
I've got a little machine.
I will be specific to the secret machine. I luckily had mine plugged in before my Klon. And didn't really think too much of it. And I was like, yeah, this is for me. This is for me. And then I plugged it in the next time and my Klon wasn't after it. And I was like, this is less for me.
Interesting.
Because it really, for me, at that particular point in time, needed the buffer after to give it the presence and kick that it needed through the rest of the signal. So try that with the secret machine, see if that improves your enjoyment of it. And all that means is having another pedal after it that is not true bypass. So there's a buffer in place. Or another pedal after it that's turned on, like a delay or a reverb or something like that.
Interesting.
I usually know within about 7 seconds whether I'm going to like something or not.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. Sometimes it's worth persevering if, and trying it with different amps and things. Like, I've got specific pedals that I love with certain amplifiers, all part of that chemistry. But if the rig that you've got and you plugged it in, you're umming and ahhing, try it with a buffer, and try some, just A/B it with some other stuff. And if it works for you, great. If not,
turn it up, turn the bass down. Fuzz is such a funny thing because the frequency weirdness it's so alien, isn't it? And they're definitely, you know, keeping you up, mate?
Oh, man, I'm knackered. I'm knackered. It's been such a massive weekend and getting it, everything ready for today. And I was really excited about today. And I just don't feel like I was on today. And I'm torturing myself over it when I need to just stop and go.
Yeah, move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you crash that car. Get a new car.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. Let's go.
For all, what we do, right, is tremendous fun.
Tremendous fun.
Tremendous
the most fun.
But some days it can be semi-hard work as well, and not massive fans of hard work, Dan and I. It's if I have to get up and change a knob on the amp, or if the assistant doesn't bring a coffee on time, it just can be tough, can't it?
Yeah, it can.
It just weighs you down.
Yeah.
So
I was taken to task last week. Someone was saying, I can't stand how Dan noodles in the show. I'm trying desperately not to noodle. It's really hard when you've got a guitar in your hand.
Yeah, I was going to say, I find the best way not to noodle is to not have a guitar.
It's keeping me up. Okay.
If anyone unused to the phenomena of irony and sarcasm is watching, and usually there are quite a few of you, everything I just said was a joke. Just be clear about it.
Okay.
Did you hear that guy? He said if the assistant is late with his coffee, he gets angry. Oh my God, what an asshole. The last person that brought me a cup of coffee was me, just to be clear.
Actually, it was your wife.
And that person that we sacked. But apart from them... Actually, it was my wife.
It was your wife.
You're not wrong. That said, Gologomoth, yesterday I did come in and go through a load of overdrives that have been sat here for ages that I just wanted to hear.
Yeah. There's some corkers.
I did a couple of hours of that. And there's definitely the case where, one great advantage that Dan and I have is having played a lot of stuff and having lots of amps and guitars and, doing this day in, day out. You, little light bulbs can go on and you can hear something and you're like, yeah, I'm not sure that's going to work with that. But you know what? It will really work into that Marshall.
Yeah.
So it's an ecosystem, isn't it? And
indeed.
if you introduce the American crayfish into your British waters, it's going to eat everything.
Yeah. The spider crab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So apply that analogy to various overdrive pedals, and
every now and then
you see where we're coming from.
Every now and then you end up in Queensland waters and you have a Moreton Bay bug. It's like, magic.
What is that?
It's a very specific bit of shellfish that we have in Queensland. It's like a cross between a crab and a lobster.
Is it one of those that looks like it's come out your nose, or is it like a discernible piece of flesh?
When you see it originally, for the first time, it's concerning.
Yeah.
It looks like there's been some genetic engineering going on.
Right.
But it's the tastiest thing ever.
Good. Ill Freeman 1. Trying to get pedals from my board and I see low. Oh God, no, we can't is the answer. Low gain, medium gain, high gain, mid hump, transparent, clean. Can you explain? No. We have done. We are in the process of just finishing off a week's worth of kind of what you might think of as entry level type videos, which does go into that a little bit. But it is, if we were to answer your question, we would explain all of guitar tone. Because what you're talking about, low gain, medium gain, high gain, mid hump, transparent, clean, is all guitar sounds right there.
Yeah.
Let's start from the back end. Clean, right? No overdrive. Low gain. Now, gain is a real problematic term because we use it to be
awesome.
to have the same meaning as overdrive. And it's just not the case, because gain is actually just make louder. But when guitar players talk about gain, they use gain as in overdrive. Yep. So low gain means a low overdrive, medium gain means a medium overdrive, and heavy gain means high overdrive. Let's think of examples of that. Give us a low overdrive sound, Dan.
A classic low gain is the original OD1, Boss OD1.
Think about a famous song.
The opening riff to Summer of '69 by Bryan Adams.
Yep, I'd put that in medium, but yeah. See, you see the problem?
Yeah, right. Oh, no, you know what? You're right, because it's got a real edge on it.
Yeah, low gain. Listen to any Scotty Moore solo from Elvis. You might think that's a clean sound, but there's low gain on it.
Yeah, okay. Sorry.
I don't know, what else can we think about? Basically, any guitar that's just a tiny bit, that's got a valve amp that's just crunching a tiny little bit.
Sure.
And then medium gain, we get into our medium overdrives, and that spans everything from what Dan just spoke about all the way up to Billy Gibbons.
Yep, AC/DC.
Yep.
Yep.
So the gamut of rock and roll, rock music, lives in medium gain.
Yep.
And then after that, high gain, we would probably consider that to be modern high gain.
So they are.
But these terms are really fluid, and
there's so much crossover.
Yeah. Mid-hump means if it's got a pronounced... After having just said we can't explain it, I'm explaining it. It's got a pronounced EQ peak anywhere between about 500 and 1.2 kilohertz. Mm-hmm. That would be a mid-humped pedal. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, there is a video coming out that explains some of this.
Yeah.
But they are not dictionary-defined terms. They are terms that we use loosely and people interpret in different ways.
So one of the issues with this, if you take something like a pedal that people love for their low gain tones, would be something like where is it? The Greer amps. What is it?
Lightspeed.
The Lightspeed. People love the Lightspeed for its low gain tones. However, the range of gain tones on that thing is massive. You turn it up and you into lovely chewy mid gain tones as well. If you hit it with humbuckers, it starts to get raunchy. So, these pedals, they have a Blues Driver, great example. You with the gain all the way off, it's like a clean boost. You turn all the gain all the way up. I mean, it's got a lot of gain in it. So you can't be pedal specific because it's a broad range of tones these pedals have. We might favour them for one thing or another. Clon, is it a clean boost? Is it a overdrive? It all depends on how you use it.
Yeah. Indeed. Maybe a good place to start is to listen to some of your favourite music and see if you can apply those terms to the guitar sounds you're hearing.
Great.
Yeah, Jacob Bartelt. Hello, Jacob.
Hey, Jacob.
He says, "Hi guys, happy belated Father's Day. And to you. Hope it was awesome. Also, when is Joey Landreth coming back on the show? And when is the OD craziness? And with the OD craziness last show, what is your favourite new overdrive pedal?"
Plug this thing in today. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I might have to have a rethink about my pedal board. This thing is amazing.
Dan and I, a couple years back, we went to a Boss event at Metropolis Studio, and there we met a really fantastic guy called Gareth Johnson. And Gareth said, "Do you want to see my studio?" And we're like, "Yeah." And he takes us to the studio, and it's like, I've never seen so many Neve 1073s in my life. And then you look around, and then there's like a 1176s, Manly massive passives, like literally studio wet dream kind of thing. And we're like,
all the stuff that we see in plugins, it's like, hang on, you've got a real touchy-feely version of the plugin. It's like, oh man, it was amazing.
And we're like, what do you do in here then? And he says, I do this, and he puts on a bunch of stuff. And he just makes the most amazing music that gets used in TV and film and all over the place. And he does loads of great projects. Anyway, Gareth is a very passionate guitar player and has worked with another chap whose name I don't know, I'm sorry to say, and come up with a Love Bomb. And it's really, really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Because what is it? It's an overdrive pedal, but it's an overdrive pedal with all the controls you wish that were on all the other overdrive pedals.
Yeah, it's very preampy in nature. It's just really cool. Really
You've got
cool.
a high pass and a low pass filters. You've got a power sag. You've got a bias switch, a drive, and an output. And the range of textures in there, they're real. Now, let me use a very divisive term. They are real guitar sounds. And by that, I mean nothing very friendly in there.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like, have this.
Yep.
Paul Stacey would love it.
Yeah, Queens of the Stone Age, those sorts of really.
It's not only that, though, is it? There's clean in there. There's
Yeah, there is, but it's those edgy, broken transistor sort of gain tones that I just think sound
cover your eyes
wonderful.
down.
Oh yeah.
We'll just show it to you, and then we'll get it on the show soon. It's called the Love Bomb, and it has requisite bigness.
Yep.
Gareth sent it in a little flight case with a padlock on it,
Cool.
and the padlock code was appropriate.
Yeah. We'll put it in the budget series show.
Anyway, so that's Dan's favourite new overdrive pedal. It would be mine. It's not really an overdrive pedal. Mine is this. It's not even there anymore.
Oh.
It's not even new either. It's the J-Rocket HRM
Yeah,
Hot Rubber Monkey.
killer.
It's so popular, I think they might even be about to discontinue it. But, well, it's been out for ages, and it's based on one specific Dumble overdrive special, and everything we plug it into, it just sounds brilliant.
Magic.
So that's my favourite J-Rocket Audio Hot Rubber Monkey.
Just look at the size difference in those two.
That's,
That's unreal. Oh, great.
yes. Let us know what yours is, Jacob. Reese Richardson. Hello, Reese.
Hello, Reese.
He says, "Hey, Dan,
Hey, Reese.
is your timeline still king? In that video, you said you liked the Empress Echo system, but on your most recent pedal board, you had the Future Factory. What made you change your mind?"
Love the ecosystem. If what I needed was a delay that had loads and loads of different like character delays, then the Empress is the one I'd use. What I love about the Future Factory, there are different filters and stuff that you can apply to each delay. You've got 2 delay engines that you can have in series or parallel. And I know you can do a lot of the stuff on the Empress as well. But there's something about just the crazy fidelity of the Future Factory. I don't know, I just connected with it. It's a lot simpler than the ecosystem. Yeah, it just, for what I wanted for my rig, it was just perfect. Really, really love it. But for that, multiple delay, if you go back to the Line 6 DL4 and that idea of having all these different delay sounds in one pedal, yeah, for me, the ecosystem is just superb. So if I wanted a Memory Man delay, if I want with tape delay emulation, with analog delay emulation, with really clean digital delay emulation, then the ecosystem would be a no-brainer. But I just love it manipulating the repeats of the Future Factory, and it just sounds wonderful.
Yeah. On that subject, Jacob Kilby has come in with, what's the best delay pedal for under £100?
Oh,
It's tough. We just made a video today about a £500 board, and that is the area that we're in, trying to get a delay pedal on a £500 pedal board. Dan went higher. Dan spent more of his budget on that, but
yeah.
I'm going to say TC Electronic Flashback 2
Oh, yeah.
would be my choice for £100.
Very good.
Do you have any
Well, it digital delay, flashback, analog delay. What does the carbon copy go for?
More than that.
It's tricky. Oh, the JHS.
1 series delay is really good, actually.
Fantastic.
3 series.
Josh has really knocked that one out of the
park.
park.
Yeah, it's excellent. It's really great sounding thing, actually. We should have that on the show. It's JHS 3 series. Curtis R says it looks like you could hide underneath it in the event of a bombing.
Yeah, I'm seriously looking at that, thinking, what size board do I need to get that on there? It's such a great sound.
It's a studio thing, I think. Well, not for you, me, but for me, I would. It's like a. How can I say this? Sometimes overdrive pedals make your amp sound smaller.
Right.
Especially when you're not being able to crank really loud. So recording wise, to get all that like little bit of sag, little bit of love in there that just makes the amp sing a bit more and does all that sort of on the subtle end of nicely hammering amp. I think that does that. Whereas an overdrive pedal is often just too much. It's too shapey, it's too much overdrive. A boost pedal is a good thing for it, but that seems to have all those controls that normal overdrive pedals don't have.
Let's do a show on sag. I think that'd be really interesting. Yeah. No, Pete Thorne did this wonderful video on vintage amp overdrive. And it was just so cool to hear the power amp section of that sort of struggling. And to tie that into a conversation I had with Phil X, and obviously Pete Thorne. Am I going to fall off? Is he going to fall off the stool? Is he? Hang on, I'll hold your foot. Right. He was saying that so he's a great believer of playing the amp, right? And he's saying when he cranks his Marshalls, you can't be that quick because it takes a while to recover, and that's the sag. And
that's my excuse.
Yeah. That's interesting. But this has sag.
Phil X is probably one of the very few people on the planet who can play quick and fast enough to, and accurate. God, man, when he is on, he is such an amazing guitar player, isn't he?
Yeah, there's no one like him, really.
It's all very well to sit there on YouTube and, play a gazillion notes a second. It is quite another to do it with the kind of conviction at 100 watts on stage in a flipping stadium.
Yeah.
Or even down, where did we see him that night? At the Fleece and Firkin in Bristol.
Oh, it was just epic.
He was just off the scale good.
But like a couple of weeks before that, I saw him at Wembley with Bon Jovi.
Of course you did.
And he runs out, like he has his hero moment, right? Runs down the gangway or whatever, single P90, plugged into his cranked 100 watt, his Phil X Friedman, and he just unleashes fury in the middle of Wembley Stadium, and it was just glorious. Like, to be able to play with such, if he went down there and just did a whittle, it just doesn't work in that sort of. But he can make that work. Yeah. He's a force.
Another one actually, which really surprised me. I watched the Pink documentary a few nights ago.
It's just white and red, isn't it?
Pink, the musical phenomenon that is Pink, her guitar player, Justin Derrico, my God.
Amazing.
I've seen Justin do traditional vids and stuff and on Instagram and all that, and there's so many guitar players who can play like that. And it's all great and everything, it's really good. But then when you see them do it in that environment, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
It does make you consider your life choices, Dan.
Yeah.
To wit, Jamie Southern says, I've got some G1265 speakers from 1980. Nice. They're the ones that Robin Ford likes, I think. I'm wanting to wire them into a 212, but they're labelled as 15 ohms. If I wire 2 of these in parallel, will I be able to run my amp at 8 ohms? Cheers, lads.
Yes.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Yep, all good.
Blues are also marked at 15 ohms sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. Brad Schultz. Hello, Brad.
Hey, Brad.
I spent my weekend with a nasty cold.
Ah.
Sorry to hear that. But it's okay, because right before that, I scored tickets to see Eric Clapton with Doyle Bramall and Jimmy Vaughan.
Okay. Awesome. So, basically...
Dan's thinking what I don't want to say.
It'll be the new, what's-his-face live tour then.
John Mayer.
John Mayer. New John Mayer live tour.
That would be great. I mean, it'd be interesting to see how well Eric's playing these days. Yeah.
That'd be wonderful.
Be awesome, hopefully.
I've never seen him live.
I have, but many years ago.
Many
years ago.
Oh, boy.
In fact, on that tour, the Journeyman tour. Sorry, I say that tour because that's the sound that's in our head at the moment because old Johnny Boy's sort of reinventing it a bit. Yeah, with the Soldanos and the red, when he's just after his signature Strat came out, the Torino red one and the pewter one. Yeah. That was awesome. Greg Fillinganes, I think, on keys, Nathan East on bass.
Ah, man.
And dear old Phil Collins on drums, actually, I think, on some of those dates.
Do.
He's a good drummer, Phil.
He is great.
Monster producer as well.
Yeah. Go back and listen to Selling England by the Pound, early Genesis.
Yeah. Wonderful stuff.
Man.
Or it might have been Steve Ferroni, I can't remember. Anyway, enjoy that, Brad. And if you see Doyle, get down on your knees and do this for me, will you? I love Doyle Bramall.
Back in New York City as well. Awesome drumming on that.
Is that your prog music, Dan?
Yeah.
Charlie Ringer. Hi, Charlie. He says, sorry if we seem a little bit, or if I seem a little bit on the edge today. It's after a day of filming. It's
We normally don't film shows on a Monday, but we had to get one done today. So we thought, we're coming early, get them done before VCQ. It's like, but after a day of filming, you and I are always like, that was a day.
Bit burnt out, yeah.
Yeah.
Dan's moving house. Congratulations, Daniel.
Oh, thank you very much.
And so he's not going to be around for a week or so when he moves house. So we had to get a couple in the can. We're a little bit sloppy on production at the moment, aren't we? We're sort of
no, sloppy on everything.
Everything's going a bit slow at the moment. That's all right though. It's not like it's a job or anything. Charlie says, thanks for the advice about chorus before drive a few weeks back. I got a Blue Hippo before drive, and it's close enough until I get a Uni-Vibe. Oh yeah, I remember this.
Very nice.
He says, what's the best sub £200 vibe?
That's a really good question. What's the vibe machine go for?
Bit more than that.
Okay.
Dry Bell Vibe Machine. I would look for a used Uni-Vibe by Dunlop.
Very good.
They made some ages ago that had the photo cells in, proper photo cells, and you could either get it as the Rotor Vibe, which was the one with the pedal on it, and actually that's the one I'd go for.
The Rotor Vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
They
thing.
still
It
make it.
sounds
I think they might still make it. So look for the Jim Dunlop Rotor Vibe. The other one to look for is the Full Tone Deja Vibe Mark III or Mark II maybe, in the treadle pedal. That sounds phenomenal.
Right.
Dunlop Uni-Vibe, do they still make it? So MXR make a Uni-Vibe, which is a new pedal which is small. What we're talking about with the Dunlop one, it was either in a big silver case or it was in Rotor Vibe form, which was a red pedal that looked like a wah-wah.
Yeah.
Dunlop UV1 Uni-Vibe chorus vibrato, 188 quid used on Reverb.
Nice.
£300
shipping.
There's one for $260 in the US, 200 quid on, yeah. So that works. And then Rotor Vibes, any of those out there? 160 used on eBay.
Nice.
200 used on eBay, 200 used on eBay. So we're right on the money.
Great.
Yeah, I would go for the Rotor Vibe personally, because
would.
then you can change the speed with the older pedal there.
Yep, very good.
Good luck. Albus Band, Aaron, hello.
Aaron.
He says, my leggings on this Monday, I excitedly say, we have a show on Friday. Good for you guys. It felt good to say, hope you're feeling well and the TPS band shows get going. Sorry, another Spinal Tap gag there.
I want to do a show.
Enjoy the show, Aaron. Great to hear from you. Thanks, man.
I want to do a show with a bunch of questions where every answer is a clip from Spinal Tap. Come on, that'd be fun.
It would.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
Enjoy the show, Aaron. Jeremiah McCann. Hi, Jeremiah. Good to hear from you. He says, Dan, who makes the compensating titanium saddles on Red? Did you cut slits in them, or do they just rest on the saddle via tension?
I didn't cut the slits in them. They came pre-slitted.
I'm pretty sure they're made by a company called KTS Titanium.
That sounds familiar.
Because they were the company that was around making titanium saddles when we both started using titanium saddles.
Yeah, that does sound familiar. And they're wonderful.
Yeah, so we think they're probably by a company called KTS, but we don't know.
Yeah.
Do they say KTS on them?
Right, let's have a look.
On the top?
No.
Like right on the top?
No.
KTS Titanium Saddles, WD Music. They do them for, they do tunematic bits, they do bass stuff, they do strat ones. KTS Vintage Telly Replacement Set.
Yeah, it's got to be the compensated ones though.
Yeah, I think they, to be fair, I think they all are.
Right.
Oh, there's compensated ones. And they're only 91 quid. Oh man, that is awesome. Yeah, I don't know if they are. Anyway, the KTS ones are the ones that I had on the Strat and they were great. So if they are, they are. 91 quid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, titanium. It's good stuff. They make bikes out of it, don't they?
Yeah.
Or they used to.
Sia sings about it. She's great.
Was that Sia?
Yeah. It is Sia, isn't it? The same titanium?
Wasn't it Beyonce?
Probably. I don't know. A lady?
Yeah. You know what I thought about Sia?
Tell me.
Can't see her.
What's that? There's another song. There's a song Sia had that I thought was incredible and the most amazing film clip to it.
No, you're right.
Chandelier.
It's a song by David Guetta, and she sang on it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then she also sang a song called Chandelier, which was incredible and the most amazing film.
Oh, the dance video.
Oh,
Yeah. It's very beautiful.
far out. Amazing.
After Joe says, I bought an original Way Huge Aquapus.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Here's my change, he says. 2 quid. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. Enjoy that. It's a really lovely delay pedal.
Yeah, wonderful.
Nice and crunchy. Yeah,
Bit
really.
of George Tripp's history.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, George Tripp's looms large in the world of delay, doesn't he? If we think about Line 6 DL4, MXR Carbon Copy, Way Huge Aquapus,
Yeah.
all the new Dunlop Echo Plexes.
He's a mover shaker in that world.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some others that we've
He's a
forgotten
big
about.
cheese.
Grand Fromage. Matthew Frederick. Hi, Matthew. Due to your encouragement, I went ahead and turned those trading cards into a Collings i35
Oh, hello.
from 2008. It's magical to
boy.
play. Thanks for the bad influence. Good for you, man. Hope you enjoy that guitar. What a wonderful thing.
Wow.
In my book on Logic, she uses an example of some famous guy who famously traded a paperclip for a house.
Oh, I've heard about this.
And he trades up.
Yeah. Up and up and up.
Up and up and up and up and up. And she uses an analogy for how logical arguments are constructed. But yeah, if your trading cards bought you a Collings, happy days.
Man, amazing.
For the Hat Fund, says Andrew M. That's very kind of you, Andrew. Thank you.
Thank you. I need them.
Raf Freitas says, thanks for the advice last week. I tried the stereo wet effects in the loop, but I could hear a ghost chorus effect when it's off. Why does it do that? if it's true bypass. It's the TC Electronic June 60. So
The June 60. Yeah, okay. So try something else. It's man. I love TC electronic stuff. The June 60 is not my not a massive fan. Yeah. I
was just being a massive fan.
Very good.
Yeah.
I thought I was being the wind beneath your wings.
You are that.
Okay.
I mean, you are that anyway, Dan.
Yeah, I don't. I try something else. Try another stereo effect. It comes down to the pedal.
Yeah. Is that crosstalk power supply?
Yeah.
Or something?
There's true bypass and there's true bypass as well. Try something else in there, and so that you can hear that it works.
See if it does.
And then have a look at how appropriate that one is for that situation.
DCK Strat 90 from Canada. Hello, Canada. He says, apart from the reverb itself, does the reverb circuit on my Fender amps, I've got a Blues Junior and a Princeton, colour my tone when it's on 0 versus on 10? Cheers from Vancouver.
It's so interesting. So
yes,
yeah, it does. Any reverb circuit. When I used to frequent this music store in Australia, man, I wish I could remember the name of the store. Really cool store, loads of secondhand stuff, and the guys are all Muso Shoppo, very good. Loads of really cool secondhand things in there, and some real enthusiasts. And one of the guys just had a RCA to RCA connector. He took the reverb out and just put this RCA to RCA connector in there, and suddenly the reverb became this gain channel in the amplifier, and it sounded wicked. It's basically a valve-driven send and return.
Yep.
And that has a tonal effect. Yeah.
Well, it depends on the amp. In the Blues Junior, it's not. There's probably an IC, I would have thought, rather than a valve. Even so, what you're doing, you're taking a portion of the signal, you're splitting it off from the main part of the signal, you're sending it through a whole bunch of other components, you're having to send it and recover it. That takes voltage as well. So absolutely, even by just diverting the signal, bringing it back again and taking up some voltage, it's totally going to change the sound of your amp. And the example of that is there are amps that exist with and without reverb, and people are very passionate about the fact that this amp should or shouldn't have reverb. So Dan really loves the sound of his Matchless without reverb.
Yep.
He had one with reverb in it, didn't like it so much.
Yep.
Dr. Z often comes up in that discussion as well. So yes, it does. And indeed, in a super reverb, if you crank it, you get more overdrive.
There you go.
And that's part of that whole sound.
Yep.
So it's certainly not something to be down in the mouth about, because it is really part of, certainly in blackface terms, it's a really big part of the sound. Is that the ding from the? Is that the ding from the pedal fall the other day?
Yeah, and I just thought, and then look at that! It's just
off it comes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. We were playing really loud, and a pedal fell off, and it fell on the.
So rock and roll.
It fell in between the 65 and red, and created some new dings. It is pretty dumb, isn't it, to put your guitars below your pedal shelf? But anyway, there we are. No one accused us of being clever, Dan?
Never.
Proxy. On the subject of the Matchless, he says, thanks for all the info and inspiration. Daniel, says Proxy, what would you recommend for a reverb in the loop of your Matchless?
Okay. Great question. I've tried a couple. It's tricky with the Matchless because the send level is massive. It is so massive, and a lot of reverb pedals can't handle it. It's volts and volts. So some things that I have used with success are, what was that one pedal? Come on.
Carl Martin Headroom.
The Carl Martin Headroom is really good. But there was another one. There was another...
Crazy Tube Circuits White Whale.
No, it was something else.
Anna Sounds.
Answer the next one, and then I will...
Give me a clue. Like a real reverb?
No. It was just a... it was a small...
MXR M300?
No.
Mr. Moto by J Rocket?
No.
J Rocket Boing? Give us a clue. How many knobs did it have on it?
It was just... It was like... It was this size, only had a few knobs on it. Oh, come on.
Okay, while he's getting there, another question about the mattress from Leon Baron. Leon says, or Leon Baron. He says, hey lads, I was thinking of getting an HC30 and was wondering if there's enough gain to use the amp on its own and clean up with a guitar volume knob.
Absolutely.
Well, it depends what music you want to play. I mean, it certainly won't sound like Slayer, but you'll get an absolutely wicked classic rock overdrive out of it.
Wonderful.
It's one of the few amps that we actually like the master volume on. It really does work very well. So you can crank that front end. Oh, the T-Rex, that one.
Yes, there it is.
I don't think they make that anymore.
No, they don't make this anymore. But that in the loop. This old T-Rex pedal.
What's it called?
It's called T-Rex Roommate. Let me just... Here we go. Ah, come on. That's not going to do it. Yeah, really fabulous sounding thing.
If you wonder why we close our eyes, cover our eyes, it's because the
Big
camera
fan to Go West.
knows to focus on the eye.
We close our eyes.
It's clever. But the truth is, Dan, you wouldn't use any reverb in the loop of your matchless, would you?
No.
That's the truth.
No.
You'd use it in the front.
Yeah. Yeah, I the matchless for me is just one of the best effect pedal platforms ever, and reverb straight in the front of it just sounds just wonderful.
Al Gorham. Hello, Al.
Hello,
nice
Al.
to hear from you. Alan Gorham. He says, gents, 2 weeks of my life with the Future Factory, and it's time to go wet dry. Bing. He says, I've got a Hot Rod Deluxe, which is modded to take EL84s and a creamback.
Ooh, nice.
That's cool. It needs to stay and be used because I love it. So if it's wet, that's the wet amp.
That's the wet amp.
What's the dry amp, or vice versa, without breaking bank?
Depends on the bank.
First off, Al, have you got an old amp that you had before the Hot Rod Deluxe? You know, quite often you might have like an old transistor, something kicking around if it was your first amp. Whatever it is, and no matter what it is, start with that.
Yep.
Because you'll be amazed that even something, you know, fairly ordinary can sound really great wet dry.
I've been thinking about this, you know. I've been thinking about my matchless setup and what I'm pairing it with. The matchless is like the core everything. So I think what I'm going to do is get my AC10, put it in a 1x12 cab, and have that as the dry amplifier.
It's a crazy amp.
Yeah. But
That's
I think
a crazy amp.
I think that paired with the matchless
Nice.
will be
Pretty sexy.
yeah. But I mean, maybe not even sending all the ODs to that amplifier. You know, just have it set so it's got a bit of edge on it. But you can do it, you know, even with a low wattage amplifier, if that's where your sizzle is.
Yeah.
Instead of doing, you know, the overdrives and everything to both amplifiers and only the wet effects, you know, just splitting it closer to the input
Yeah.
is also a really cool way to do it. Speaking of Phil X, that's what he does. He has his little grille out. I think it's a 1x8-inch speaker in there. And he was telling me that the story with the sound guy, he plugs into his, you know, his Ben Huro Hugo tone, and has Schwang, and the sound guy goes, yeah, that's epic. And then he turns on the Greer, and sound guy goes, what are you going to do with that? I said, now put them on together. And the sound guy goes like, oh, right. And it just gives the edge to that front of the note.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool way to do it.
It is. Just so you know, everyone, I'm going to turn the super chat off now so that we've got enough time to get through everything. So if you've super chatted by now, we will get to you. If you have not, we won't. It's off. So no more super chats, please. Hopefully BV will remind everyone in the comments, no more super chats. And we will try and remind ourselves. So Al, you could, it depends what that budget is. So you could use almost literally anything. Avoid a digital modelling amp because you'll get phase issues because of the latency of the digital side of it. So anything from a Blues Junior to a Princeton, another Hot Rod Deluxe,
AC15,
AC15, and you can
AC4.
pick, and if you don't want to buy new, you can pick all of this stuff up on Reverb.com or eBay as a used thing and save loads of money that way. Similarly, what else have we got out there? We've got stuff like very cost-effective amps from the Bugera brand from Thomann.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter that much actually what you get.
And the mixing and matching the different flavors you get it's so inspirational and so worth doing.
Yep. It really is. So good luck.
Yep.
Sorry, just load up this window again. We may have to quicken our step just slightly, Daniel.
Boy, oh boy.
Scott Paris. Hello, Scott Paris. He says hello from Tuele or Tool Lee or
Tulelala.
Tuil, Utah. Do you have any thoughts on the Aerodyne series strats? An opportunity came up on my way with a made in Japan 3-single coil with a bound flame red maple top. Thanks for all you guys do. Now, they did some called Anodyne and they did some called Aerodyne, so...
Seriously?
I think so.
Aeolidyne? Aeolidyne.
Or that might just be me being a twit. Not really reading things properly.
Twit.
Special one. Okay, yeah. Because what I remember, I think, from this guitar is it had like a sculpted body.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I never played one, so I couldn't really say anything of use. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay.
So it's sort of like a little bit like a double drop top sort of thing, flat over the top. If indeed it is what I'm thinking it is. Oh yeah, there's one. Look, in red flame maple.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Sort of like modern.
Yeah, cool. It's sort of got a bit of that Anderson feel to it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sure it'd be a great thing if you like the look of it and that's the sort of thing you're into. Go for it. Interesting. It looks like it's got a 6-screw bridge. You would have thought a guitar like that would have a 2-post bridge on it. Yeah,
nice.
Cool.
Nice.
Go for it. Why not? Matt Lloyd.
Hey, Matt.
He says, hi guys, just wanted to say hey and wish you both well. Hope everything is going well for both of you. Thank you, Matt. And you,
Thank
man.
you, bud. Yeah. All good.
Yeah, things are good. Dan's moving house. My spaniel is becoming less problematic. So all is good. Actually, it's unfair. She's never been problematic. She's just a puppy. Yeah. David Daly. Any love for Cabernetas? I've recently got one and it's changed my life. Wish I'd discovered Filtertrons years ago. Yeah, I love Cabernetas. Don't own one, but everyone I've played I've enjoyed.
Right. Cool.
Ever played one?
No, the only
Telly with 2
Filtertrons.
or 1 Filtertron, yeah.
Your telly with the Filtertron on the neck is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, my new telly has arrived at Anderton's.
It has,
I
yes.
bought one of those Jason Isbell tellies, although I've noticed something about it I don't know if I can live with. The flipping truss rod adjuster is at the headstock end, which, as all fans of vintage Fender guitars know, is sacrilege. And it's like in the little bit of walnut.
Is it a bullet?
No. The little bit of walnut that's there.
Yeah.
Well, you've got one in your hand. Not on that guitar. Here you go. It's like that. So, in there is a little hole.
Well, who's in there? No one. But here.
And
see, there's a.
I don't want this.
I don't want this.
Who's in there?
We could
No
we
one.
could totally do it.
And who's in there? A little guy.
The guy. Keep
So
folding.
I don't. If I squint, it's going to have to be a pretty epic guitar for me to keep it,
Right.
because I just don't know if I can live with that.
Especially one that dresses like an Australian's and not.
Anyway, new telly's coming up soon, which means we can actually do the telly show. Would be quite cool to get hold of a hold of a Cabronita for that.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
La Cabronita Especial. I do believe it might have been Mike Eldred's idea in the custom shop. If I could, I might be remembering that wrong. And I remember when they first came out. Such a cool guitar. Good on you, David. Josh Turner. Absolutely love the show, guys.
Oh, thank you, mate.
And Josh, thank you for your incredible generosity. That's
Wow.
really kind of you.
Thank you, bud.
He says, quick question. I have an Epiphone Riviera with mini humbuckers, but the clarity is just not there. Any suggestions?
Well, I think we had this conversation a little while ago about mini humbuckers. The mini humbuckers that I've tried, I haven't connected with. You know, the P90s in that guitar are wonderful. Firebird pickups, I think, have got more clarity. The mini humbuckers are their own thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to Robin Ford's Riviera with mini humbuckers, it's certainly not lacking any brightness. So I would have a quick check of the electronics, which is not easy to do on an Epi. I know that when I replaced the pickups in the Casino, now for sure the pickups were a big part of it, but the wiring loom, 50s wiring and really decent pots and caps made a colossal difference.
Yep.
So before you junk the humbuckers, have a think about replacing that wiring loom, because that's something that you can do fairly cost effectively, but don't skimp on it. Get really good stuff, get a really high quality harness, and make sure those tone caps are 500k, I guess.
The tone pots.
The pots, sorry.
Yeah. That's well, and the volume pots. Make sure they're all at least 500k.
Yeah, because it might be, I don't know what's in there, and you might find that just gives that guitar a kick in the ghoulies that it requires.
Yeah.
So do that first. If that doesn't work, buy some Jason Lollar pickups.
There you go.
Because I'm pretty sure Jason does mini humbuckers. But start with the wiring loom, and you might find that gives it the kick that it needs. 50s wiring, 500k pots, good quality wiring loom, and you might find that does it.
Nice.
Yep. Good luck. Mike2203 fan says, hi guys, what OD pedal would you use with a 20 watt Marshall 61X at low volume? Also, thoughts on the Korg Miku? I got one on a whim but never use it.
That's the Korg Miku. So you'll get one on a whim and you'll use it once and go, that's hilarious. Second time you play it, you go, yeah, that's amusing. Third time you play it, you just, the joke's over. Until you get a harmonizer pedal.
I think you're being
and
too
you
hard
put
on it, Dan.
You put the harmonizer pedal after it, and then you're into a whole new realm of hilarity.
Yeah. I think all it needs is John Mayer to come along and use it on his new single, and the Miku will be in a whole...
Followed by the 1,000 YouTube clips
of
everyone explaining. Yeah.
Marshall 2061X. What a fantastic amp. What a really, really lovely, lovely amp. But yeah, it's pretty clean, it's pretty loud, so an overdrive pedal's a good idea. Pick any flavour. Most things work pretty well with Marshalls, I think. If you want high gain, I would thoroughly recommend the J-Rocket HRM that we were talking about earlier. D&M drive will work brilliant with a 2061.
Yep. Rat.
If you want, if you want like Graham Coxony.
Yep. even a DS1 in that amplifier works really well.
Yeah, if you want more of a sort of, I say modern, but 80s and 90s shred guitar sound, a DS1 would work.
I want to do a DS1 special. I've sold over 6 million of those.
Wow.
DS1s.
Wow.
It's amazing.
That's as confusing as Coronation Street to me.
I was having a look at the circuit yesterday, and it's some really interesting things going on with the pedals. I want to do a DS1 special, and we'll get through it quick. Okay.
No, well, you say that. Your old one sounds
Banging. Look at this.
really banging.
Is it here?
I think we bought a brand new one, actually. Yeah, I mean...
Oh, no. It's in the vlog room.
Mike, sorry, there's
It's killer.
so many overdrive pedals we could recommend for that. Basically, anything's going to work.
Yep. OCD.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, yeah.
The thing is, it's got... We did a show today where Mick had the crunch channel in the boogie going.
I guess you could. We can't reveal anything. But...
Oh, no. I'm just
Well, I
saying...
suppose we could. We're among friends. Of course you can.
No, I'm just saying... You going between the
These are our
clean and the
friends,
crunch
of course
channel
we can.
of the boogie, right? But because you've hear the way the amp is voiced, it's like when you put an overdrive pedal into the clean channel, it has that character because of the way that the amp sounds.
Yeah.
So, anything that is, you stick a blues driver or a blues breaker, depending how heavy you want to go, into that amp, turn up, it's going to sound fantastic. It just will.
I'm trying to pick something, and it's basically impossible. There are so many great distortion pedals out there.
Yeah.
And overdrive pedals.
Yep.
Go with your gut, I reckon, Mike. Get something that, does somebody you know or that you've heard get their signature sound with that pedal, or at least is it part of their game? I would probably say avoid mid-humped overdrives.
Yeah.
So don't go down the Tube Screamer route with the 2061.
Yeah.
I'm sure they can sound fantastic, but there's plenty of nice mid-range in that amp already. So, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
We thoroughly recommend all of Thorpe's overdrive pedals.
Oh, gunshot into that.
Yeah.
That would
If you've
be
got that sort of cash.
absolutely killer.
Andre Norman. Andre.
Bonjour.
I've got a Blues Junior that I'd fallen out of love with, but I played it this weekend through my main 2x12 cab, which has an EVM12L.
Oh,
Yes, it
nice.
does.
Very nice.
And a Fane Alnico 60. It sounds
Oh, wow.
amazing. Any chance of an episode where you mix and match different heads and cabs? Yeah, well, how interesting would that be?
Fun.
The
That's a
one
good
that
shout.
the one that really nailed it on was when we did the budget rig challenge back over a year ago now. It was in December, and jokingly, Dan bought the worst amp he could possibly find on
Amazon.
for 20 quid, wasn't it? And it was just a piece of junk.
They were making profit on that amp at 20 quid.
And it, some Sonic Warrior would record it, put it on a record, sell 1 million copies, it'd be awesome. So we're not saying it's not usable, but when he unplugged the internal speaker and plugged it into a 412, it actually sounded pretty decent.
So fine. So yeah, really good shout.
Yeah. Sam Webster. Because of course, it's not just the speaker, it's the cab.
Absolutely.
One of the things I don't like about the Blues Junior is the flipping cab's too small.
It's too small. It sounds boxy.
But in the specific application of recording for a certain sound, it's perfect.
Yeah.
But when you want, increased bigness, it's just not there. It's
Who
physically
doesn't
not
want
there.
increased bigness?
Yeah, well. Sam Webster. Sam Webster says, I've got an episode idea, or just a talking point. When and how to compromise your rig, an ideal tone for small rooms, busy stages, and less powerful vocalists.
Oh, this is so interesting.
Isn't it?
When I was doing the walkabouts, I would have favourite amps per room Amps just worked better with the standing waves and stuff in the room. Amps all work better in big crowds. Or amps that I preferred. That stuff is so interesting.
It's the other side of the coin, isn't it? So here we are, week in, week out, going, wow, listen to this. It sounds awesome, and it really does. And then you take that rig out and you play the first song, and either the venue's half empty in the case of most of my gigs, or
there's no one in there in the case of my gigs.
Or the bride decides she doesn't like AC/DC after all. And
big fan of Agadoo.
Yeah, the 4-year-old
doing backspinning on the floor.
Backspinning on the floor actually throws up because he's so hit by guitar tone. And you do have to make some compromises, and that's just the truth of it. Not only that, your rig sounds different night to night. And I think here we are saying, hey man, I've got the best tone in the world. And actually you get to the gig, it's like, yeah, this isn't working at all. It's a fascinating subject.
Context is
I don't think Dan and I would knowingly, willingly compromise on anything ever. But the biggest compromise is having to turn down.
Yeah.
Especially in the case of your weaker vocalist. Weak vocalists, man, they annoy me. I've yelled at singers sometimes, put your lips on the mic and get some noise out. Otherwise, just don't sing. We
did a gig years ago. We did 3 gigs in one day, and this is the last gig. And we're all a bit tired, and it was this Christmas do in Wales. And this guy comes up before the gig, and he says,
"Did you say the Prime Minister's Christmas do?"
No, private Christmas do. And it was in Wales. And this guy comes up before the show, and he says, "Oh, we're going to do some bingo before you guys play." He said, "But then I've got a couple of songs on a backing track. Can I grab one of your microphones and sing?" I said, "Yeah, no problem." This guy had the loudest voice. I mean, he was unbelievable. He was like Tom Jones loud. And we could, no matter what we did with the pre, that was clipping.
No way.
It was unbelievable. I'd never heard anything like it.
So he needed a pad.
And when I was talking to Paul Stacey, who played with Tom Jones, and our dear friend Pete will be able to attest to this as well. Tom has got that. He's just so powerful. When you work with a singer like that, man, it's just. There's something else. But the flip side of that is when you're working with someone that's got a very delicate voice, and that can be really cool, but you've got to shape the sound around that.
You do. And that is scooping mid-range out, it's turning down, and it's
getting your limiting right, and
it's going from guitar player, I'm going to play my guitar and screw you, to actually the song is the most important thing here, and maybe I'm in the wrong gig.
Sure.
Yeah. But hopefully you should never get to that point, because you should be playing in bands that you enjoy playing with, and it's a musical experience. But I guess we've all been in bands where that is emphatically not the case. So the compromise is volume.
Yeah.
You don't need to compromise anything else, do you?
No.
I mean, all those one of the comments that is persistently fascinating to me and Dan, and we had a couple over the weekend, where there was 2 things happening. One is it's a justification of making a decision. So the decision is, I can't be asked to carry my amp anymore.
I will never understand that.
And therefore, this sounds great because I can't be bothered to carry my amp anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, there's no criticism of what anyone uses. Use what you want. Use what makes you happy.
Yeah.
But don't use something that makes you unhappy and then moan about everyone else using stuff that makes them happy. That doesn't make any sense at all to me. It's like, if you can't carry your amp anymore, well, get some help. For people who actually can't carry their amps, maybe they've got a back injury or something like that. Fair play. We feel for you, and that is tough. I would pay somebody to carry my amp personally, but
back in the old day, they invented this thing called the wheel.
But for everyone else, it's like, just carry the amp, man. All right, you might have to go on the bus. Mark, I promise you, Mark III Boogie, you can carry it. It's pretty heavy, but you can carry it.
I remember doing a gig. Rehearsals were in Sydney, and I had a little sack truck, and I had a boogie on there, and the board, and my guitar, and it was all sort of hockey strap onto that, and the boogie was really heavy, but got on the ferry, went from Manly into Sydney, and then there are ways to make that stuff work.
Yeah. But please don't think we're being critical of anyone's choices. I'm never critical of anyone's choice if that's what they want to do. What I'm annoyed about is when they then criticise everyone else for not making the same choice.
Yeah, right.
So do what you love. Don't do anything else. That's what I think.
None of the drummers that I've ever worked with have ever complained about carrying traps cases.
No.
And it's something that I find really interesting. I mean, the gear can be heavy, but if that's what you're passionate about, I'll turn up to gigs a couple of hours beforehand to get everything set up and make sure that everything's sounding great. I'm so aware that the amount of gigs I'm going to play in my life is finite,
dwindling rapidly,
and I want that. I want every single experience I have to be special because I really care about it.
There is a lot of potential self-esteem issue because carrying off the confidence to turn up with a really decent rig, and you get that sort of sideways look from everyone. And like, are you serious? It's like, well, actually, yes, I am serious. Yeah. And when I play the guitar, you're going to hear that I'm serious because we're going to make music. But if you're apologetic about it and they don't really want you in the band anyway, it's like, well, I don't like that dynamic. It doesn't work for me. That's why I'm not in any bands. How did we get onto that?
No idea.
About compromising. Volume, when you've got to turn down. I hate it. I really do hate it. But it is the reality, and we accept that. Dan Cobley, thanks, Dan. I don't know if you got a super chat in, but I can't see a question. Maybe it has been emailed. No, it hasn't. I am talking to Thomas Blug tomorrow about 61 Strats, though, which should be quite interesting.
Oh, awesome.
For Thomas's channel. Right. Someone is asking about this, but it looks like it can't disappear. How? Oh, I'm confused. Really confused. Because it's in a minute. Let's go with Jim Bob Diddley first. Greetings from Toronto. Been messing around with placing OD pedals after fuzz to help focus and boost it for tone shaping using a Tumnus Deluxe. Does an EQ pedal serve this purpose just as well?
It's interesting. It's different because it won't limit the way that your overdrive pedals do. So overdrive pedal is designed to take the input and then limit. So even if your gain is down really low, it's still when like was showed last week, it's still when you hit that input, there'll be some limiting going on. And what's really interesting about having that after a fuzz pedal is it can just tame those edges off a little bit. The EQ pedal is different. You'll be able to shape that tone, but it won't limit in the same way.
Yeah, because you're getting a bit of a flavour of the overdrive as well. So in the Tumnus Deluxe, for example, very specific EQ curve, nice little bit of overdrive in there. It's good once I was trying it yesterday with the regular Tumnus, and there's just too much bottom end in there.
Right.
But the Tumnus Deluxe, where you can roll it off, for my tastes, I should add. I'm sure many of you get on with it just fine. Mark Lavinish, hi Mark. He says, I'm running my Constable. Here we are. Kingsley Constable. Into the loop return of my Bugera G5. Any suggested settings for Plexi like clean tones? I'm still figuring this thing out. Right. For those of you who don't know, the Kingsley Constable is a valve preamplifier based on a Marshall Plexi front end. And it has a couple of points of potential confusion. The biggest one is the way the master volume is set up. And hopefully, Mark, if you've read the manual, you'll know that you've got 3 different levels of output. You've got like a low level of output, which is where you would set it if you're using it on your pedal board. There's a medium level of output where the I think the master volume is engaged, and then there is just on,
Right.
which is
Bypassed. Yeah.
I think. In any case, the manual will sort that out. And just be careful when you test it, because the difference in level out of this thing is colossal.
Yeah.
And it'll go from, oh, that sounds good, to, you know, really hurting.
Yeah.
So just be careful about that. At the other end, you've got a mode switch which enables you to have... Sorry, I know this isn't very close. Cover your eyes down. At the other end, you've got a mode switch which enables you to have... So a Plexi has got 2 channels, right? It's got high treble and normal, or it might have been called something different over the years. And they work off these 2 volume knobs over here, volume 1 and volume 2. That switch there enables you to have volume 1, volume 2, or a mix of both. Now, for me, the mix of the both is where you want to be. So work out where they're both engaged.
So it's like a linked channels.
At which point this channel 1 and 2 becomes redundant because they're linked.
Yep.
Yeah. So mix them, and what that will do is one of them will have more high frequency and more overdrive, and the other one will be duller sounding. So you can get your ideal mix of them. Secondly, the bright cap switch makes a colossal difference to the top end response, so you need to just tune that in. But if you set everything to 2 o'clock, have the master volume engaged, and get the bright cap setting that you like, turn your volume down a bit on the guitar, you should find that to be a pretty nice sound. And if it's too much overdrive, just turn the 2 volumes down a bit, and it might be, I can't remember which is which, one of them will be more overdrivey and trebly than the other.
Right.
That's how I would do it. I don't know about the response of the Bugera. You know, in our Plexi, we tend to use the Robin Trower EQ settings, which is bass almost on 0, treble almost on 0, middle almost on 10, which is bizarre, but it sounds pretty good.
Sounds great.
Yeah, you might find that because it's a pedal and because it's the Bugera, you can get away with more treble. Yeah, good luck.
It's a wonderful thing.
It's such a great thing, but as you say, can be a bit fiddly just to get it in the right place.
Simon has got a new Valve fuzz pedal. You seen that thing?
I have, yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah,
looks killer.
Does sound really, really good too. Hopefully we'll get a look at that. There is another Constable. I don't know which one you have. He's done one that's more 800 voiced.
Right, yeah, right.
Which is over there, which I haven't really played with yet, so I don't know much about that one. But yeah, good luck with that. Carl Longbottom.
Hey, Carl.
Now then, gents, greetings from Yorkshire. He says, happen. Hoping everyone is well out there. A big thanks for everything you do, and a big thanks to BV.
Ah,
Cheers, Carl.
Cheers, Carl.
Carl made that lovely T-style guitar for Dan there, which is sounding really flipping fantastic.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, he's playing it again today.
And it's this, ready?
Dan's rediscovering the joy of the Strat trem and its inherent springiness.
Oh, it's just great.
Sam Webster, thanks Sam for your kindness. No question, maybe there will be one coming through. We've got an old chestnut here from Dale John. Hello Dale, he says, are there any, and would you recommend solderless guitar cables, not patch cables? And if not, why? Love you guys.
Okay, interesting.
Not such an old chestnut actually.
One of my favourite guitar cables is a really old George L that I've had for years. Yeah, and it just sounds great. Yeah, I've had great results with particularly that George L cable. I don't know any other solderless ones that I use as a guitar cable. That's the only one really.
Yeah, so the general criticism levied against solderless cables is, depending on the one you go for, it is essentially a tolerance fit. And while there might be a little screw making the ground connection and holding it in, it's nothing like as strong as a proper soldered in, clamped jack. So on pedal boards they're fine because they don't really move around that much unless you keep plugging them and unplugging them, and in which case, the fatigue causes failures more quickly. Personally, I would not use a solderless cable as my main guitar cable unless I made it and then I shrink wrapped it and made it strong in some way.
No, and I agree. It's just that I've had this thing for so long, and it just, whenever I plug into that thing, it just sounds great.
Or you could save yourself the trouble and buy Klotz Lagrange cables
Yeah, they're really good.
and never look back.
Yep.
I think they're my favourite cables, actually. It is called Lagrange, isn't it? I just want to check that I haven't got the name wrong. Yeah, it is. It is. Klotz Lagrange. There you go. Buy one of those. Chris Allen. Hi, Chris. Leg ends. Any good tips for pedal maintenance that can be done by a not very technical person? Cheers.
Yes. Okay. There's a really great product called Electrolube. It's a switch cleaner. I think in America it's called something else, and people will remind me very soon. If you have your input jacks in the pedal, and it's basically a dry connection, and you've had the pedal board for a long time and it's sort of static, sometimes it can work really well to take the connections out, spray a little bit of switch cleaner in there, and then plug the jacks back in. That can be really helpful. I've also done things in the past where I've got some really fine...
Pete Cornish is really passionate about that.
Right. Well, it makes a big difference. I've done things in the past where I've got some really fine wet dry paper and rolled it up and actually gone into the jack plug just to give it a good clean inside, make sure that you're getting a really good earth connection. That works really well. Maintenance like that, just keeping the pots clean is really simple.
Yeah, and don't make sure you buy the right kind of cleaner. There are some
It's really important.
Some things that look the same in the same kind of can that aren't cleaners. They can be corrosive and not very good.
Yeah.
So make sure you get switch cleaner.
Yep.
General cleaning.
General cleaning is good.
Yeah, don't put them in the dishwasher or the washing machine. A damp cloth may be acceptable.
I saw a gentleman's pedal board who I shan't name, very, very famous guitar player, and just thought it was cool to have his pedals really mucky and stuff. And I just remember seeing him live and he just had a constant nightmare with his pedal board.
Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't take a lot to keep them in good working order.
Yep. There we go. Hobo Roadie says, a puppy is one thing, a spaniel is quite another. Enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's great. How far is Dan moving? Says, I've just lost it. Closer or further away from the TPS studio? This is hilarious.
I am moving closer to the TPS studio. I am moving 2 houses closer to the TPS studio.
Dan's moving down the road.
I'm literally moving, not next door, but the one after that.
Yeah. Yeah. Eric Swanson, on the subject of cleaning, says, what do you use to clean your guitars? Frets and body, etc.
Okay. I've always really liked Mr. Sheen. I thought that's always done a really good job on the guitars. When I used to do fret dressers and things,
Deoxit. Paul Matulovic and Ian M is saying it.
Deoxit. That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the switch cleaner in America. Yeah. Deoxit. I remember doing the fretboards. Mr. Sheen on anything that's got finish on it, but for my
Lots of people are chucking something at the screen. You can't use Mr. Sheen, it will kill your guitar's dead.
It's great.
Yeah, I'm joking.
It's really good. But only on finish guitars, and just
What about
spread on.
No.
But if it's not finished,
Lame.
I would. This is not advice, and I'm not recommending you do this. But I would use lighter fluid on rosewood fingerboards because it evaporates completely. So get in there, get all the schmunt out, and with the lighter fluid, but there would be no residue. It would evaporate completely. And that really will. And then I'd finish that off with a bit of lemon oil.
Yeah, a bit of oil on the board.
Yeah.
I don't clean my guitars, ever. So, there you go. I will wipe the fingerboard down every now and again with a cloth. I can't remember ever oiling a fingerboard in recent history.
Right.
I'm not, and I guess if you're gigging, it's different. If you're sweating all over them, then you do need to clean them a bit. God, I can remember.
Are you corrosive? Is your
No.
sweat corrosive? See, mine is really corrosive.
That's what I was about to say. I'm not very hard on the guitar in terms of that. I do remember Slim Hamster having a can of WD-40 up and down the neck on a rag,
Right.
which probably wasn't the ideal thing to use. You smell of WD-40 as well. But there are lots of polishes available. Dunlop make a great range of stuff. Ernie Ball make a great range of stuff, and they'll indicate what's safe for different finishes and things
Yeah.
like that. But a decent cloth is the most important thing, and you can get a nice lint-free microfiber cloth. This happens to be a Collings one, I think. And you know that'll do you well and see you through. Is it a Collings one? Can't remember. Mick, would you please indicate the brand and pickups that you're using in your Strat, please? Says Jesus Doppler. It changes frequently, Jesus. For ages, like for the last year or so, it's been Ron Ellis, either 50-60 or 64 set, predominantly the 50-60 set. And then the last few videos, it's been a Andreas Klopman ST60 set, which I like. I don't prefer them to the Ron Ellis's, I don't think. I just wanted to hear them. I'm doing a bit of listening at the moment between what difference the aluminium guard makes between the pick guard. Because for those of you who don't know, vintage, like slabboard era rosewood board Strats had a thin aluminium thing, the same shape as the pick guard, underneath the pick guard. I've never had one in any of my guitars, and people I talk to say it doesn't do any favours for the tone, notwithstanding the fact all vintage proper slabboard Strats have them. So I've been having a little listen to that and listening to the Klopman. So I'm in and out of pickups. Actually, I think, you know what, I think my favourite pickups at the moment are the Fender Fat 60s, custom shop ones.
Yeah, wonderful.
They sound great in that guitar. But they don't work in blue as well as they do in the black one. So I do love the Ron Ellis ones. One thing I'm not loving at the moment is reverse wound, reverse polarity. I'm much preferring them all the same wind and polarity. Right. The mid positions have a different character. Anyway, so that's that. Don't I'd say this all the time. Try not to get too hung up on pickups because they sound different in every guitar.
That's very, very true.
So you know the pickups that work well in my blue one might not work so well in the black one, etc., etc. So it's such a personal thing. It's such a personal thing, and it is a rabbit hole down which you can disappear. Also depends what kind of pedals you use. You know, like in some cases, I really prefer the 64 set. They're weaker, and that's because I pretty much always have a pedal on, so I retain more of the headroom of the guitar. But without any pedals, they're pretty weak sounding. So.
Sure.
Who are we to? We're to Tom Robinson, and he says, I haven't got a gear question. I just wanted to say hi and thanks. Who's a great guitarist you think should be better known, says Tom Robinson. I would go for Richard Thompson.
Oh, very nice.
Great shout. In
Yeah,
between
very
Strat
good.
sounds, vibrato, nice.
Yeah, wonderful.
don't know how well Richard Thompson is known in the US, but he's an awesome British rock folk guitar player.
Yeah.
Just in case you don't know who Richard Thompson is.
I mean, real hero of mine who's been on the show, Dave Gregory. I think he's just what he's done musically is astounding. Oh man,
it's so hard, isn't it? Because there's so many fantastically, unbelievably brilliant guitar players out there. Not least all the guitar players you've literally never heard of, because they played on all the biggest records of all time.
Yeah.
Anything that comes out of Nashville, who's playing guitar on that? Could be any number of people that nobody really knows. I mean, if you know your session guitar players, you'll know who they are.
Yeah. It's funny, like, I think Tom Bukovac is one of the greatest musical guitar players. Like, he's astounding ever.
Without any shadow of any doubt, he is.
And I think, wow, how is he not a household name?
Yeah.
He's just...
It's like, you don't know if you don't know, do you? I keep telling people about Michael Landau.
Yeah,
and,
right.
People who are interested in strats and will know full well who Michael Landau is, but then you meet someone who has literally never heard of him.
Yeah.
And he's consistently, he's right up the top for me in guitar players. So, but, one person might say, oh, well, of course we know who Landau is, and then the next person has no idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to say John Smith.
Yeah.
If you don't listen to folk music and you don't listen to much acoustic guitar, you might not know who John Smith is.
Right.
Listen to John Smith. Just the most phenomenal guitar player.
Yeah, he is incredible.
And then he starts singing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Happy days. Jay Heesman. Hello, Jay. He says, good afternoon. I'm looking at entering the semi-hollow market. Is an Epiphone 335 a good start, or do you have other similarly priced suggestions?
I think it's a great start.
Yep. Depends what your budget is. If you can possibly look up from there a little bit, I would thoroughly recommend the Eastman range. Eastman is that brand name. D'Angelico are doing some pretty good stuff. It's a little bit tough. So below $1,000, certainly, you may or may not be aware that there are a number of giant guitar factories in Korea, China, that make most of the world's budget guitars, or at least, budget and mid-price guitars. And whether it's Ibanez or Epiphone, or it doesn't matter what it really says on the end of the headstock.
A lot of them coming from the same place.
Yeah, and built using very similar materials. Now, it's not to say they're all the same, but they definitely share a familial, the finish is similar. So at that point, it's down to QC, consistency, setup, electronics. And it's really hard to pick among them. A lot of it's stylistic, right? So what shape is the headstock? What brand is it? Do you align with that guitar's brand values? All this stuff.
Yep. And then you can never get away from the fact that you'll have three of those guitars come out, one one after the other, and they'll all be a bit different.
Yeah. I mean, I played some true dogs of Epiphones.
Yeah.
Just as I have any guitar brand you can name. Well, never played a dog of a Collings, but I have played dogs of most guitar brands.
Right.
That Epiphone that I bought secondhand for 290 quid on eBay is the guitar that I pick up first.
Yeah, it's great.
These days, I absolutely love it.
Yeah,
so
it's killer.
You kind of really need to play it. But yeah, a dot, they call it a 335 now. It used to be called a dot. Why not? Try and go and play a couple if you can. I know things are difficult with COVID, but get it in the hand.
Indeed. Always.
And see how you feel about it. Yeah. But if you can up the budget a bit, I really, really would recommend Eastman guitars. And
they're in a different league, the Eastman guitars.
Ibanez Art Core is worth a look as well.
Yes. Yeah. Very good.
But, let's underline all of that, because there's some pretty contentious things to say. Let's underline all that by saying there is no reason why one guitar brand is necessarily any better than another at that price point. It's more about, is it set up well? What are the electronics right? You know, because everything's CNC and it's usually been fit and finished pretty okay.
Yeah.
It's really then down to the setup and whether you're going to like the feel of it.
Yep.
Neck shape, all that kind of stuff. Simon Lucier says, cheers from North Carolina.
Oh, hello.
I'll have to catch the VOD later, but I was wondering if either of yourselves have any interest in prog rock like Yes, Genesis or Rush.
Yeah.
Dan loves it.
Man,
He wakes up in the morning thinking about Alex Lifeson.
I do. Oh, pick.
What's that?
Spirit of Radio.
Yeah, what's the riff? What is it?
It's around there.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's around there.
That was the bluegrass version.
Yeah, so Tin Spirits originally was a prog rock cover band, and we'd do Yes and Rush and Genesis, and but we'd do it without any keys. And between Dave and myself, we'd play the keyboard parts, and it was the most fun I've ever had on stage. It was just wonderful. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that stuff.
Moving on. I am not. Perilous Temple. Thank you. I don't know if there's a question there. Missing. Okay. Nope. Al Gorham. Tell the lads, no second amp. I just have that Mark 1 hot rod. My new budget is 800 to $1,000.
Oh, nice.
So much to get there, Al.
Yeah. AC15.
Yeah, AC15 is a good shout. I don't know if you can get a Princeton for that. That would be a pretty.
That would be a great shout.
Good shout. Yeah, AC15 every day of the week. That works so well with the Hot Rod Deluxe. Okay. Brian Garcia, Perilous Temple, thank you. We don't know if there's a question. Maybe one will appear. Brian Garcia, thanks, Brian. That's blooming kind of you. He says, I got my first PRS last week.
Oh, wow.
A Zach Myers SE, and my first clone was delivered this morning, a Decibelix Golden Horse. Needless to say, it's been a good 2 weeks. Thanks for the inspiration and the laughs. Keep on keeping on. Nice one, Brian.
Very nice.
I don't know what's interesting about the Zach Myers PRS. Is it red?
No, that's Mike Myers.
No, it's blue. Oh, semi-hollow. Single cut.
Wow. Oh, wow. Very nice.
Hey, what a cool thing. All green or blue. Nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, really cool looking thing. Really cool looking thing. I've got a feeling Simon McBride plays a semi-hollow single cut.
Oh, he messaged me the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said he was very complimentary. He said
Nice.
we said we'd both been playing very well lately.
Well, that's a big deal coming from him.
Well, yeah. I've printed out the email.
Stuck it
on the wall.
Yeah.
In a
Look,
frame.
You said. Prog Doggy. Greetings, gentlemen. Looking at adding a wah, but they all seem so noisy. Any suggestions for one that won't annoy me until I take it off the board?
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? It's because you're sweeping those frequencies, and you can pick out that noise.
You are making that frequency band louder. That's what it does.
Yeah, and you're amplifying that frequency band. You're amplifying the noise that lives in there as well.
Yeah.
It's just part and parcel. We both love the Jam Pedals Wacko. It's a spectacular sounding thing.
Yeah.
But look, a bog standard Crybaby.
Yeah.
It just sounds wonderful.
And the bog standard true bypass Crybaby at that.
Yeah, really great.
I believe there is one.
Yeah, really great.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who else makes a bog standard Vox V847. I think the temptation with wahs is to go, oh, get this because it's got the sweepable filter, or that because it's got this, and that because it's got an added boost. I think until you've heard a bog standard Crybaby and a V847, it doesn't make any sense to branch out from there.
I agree.
But I'm a passionate believer that those basic analog inductor wahs are a different world to your digital wah. And indeed your optical wah, for that matter. You know,
Yeah.
start there. Start with a bog standard crybaby, wacka wacka wacka, and if you don't like that, branch out from there.
Yep. Very good.
Winston Bowman. Hello, Winston. Hi, guys. I recently won a guitar signed by Noel Gallagher from a charity auction.
Oh, very nice.
Nice.
Very nice.
How would you recommend preserving the signature whilst keeping it playable and preserving the finish? Would you use nitro lacquer?
Depends on what it's on.
And where he's signed it.
Yeah. Good question. Okay, if he's signed it like here, where your arm goes, no matter what you put on that, it's going to be tough. If you had, poly, you'd need to put some sort of primer over the signature and then poly. But the tough thing is, if he's signed on top of gloss, then getting it to key to the gloss is going to be tricky. I don't know. You need to speak to someone.
Yeah, you do need to speak to someone who knows about guitar finishing.
There's the guy that put the LEDs in the guitars as well. They're really
Martin
good.
Sims, Sims Custom.
Yeah, Sims Custom. Really know their finishes. Probably give them a quick shout and ask what they would recommend. Yeah. Good question though. That's,
and congrats on the guitar.
Yeah, well done, mate. Well done.
Cirky, just started to stack my overdrives thanks to you, and I love it.
Awesome. Well done.
It's a nice place to be. Asa Hakkarainen says, Fender Starcaster. Yeah. 25.5-inch scale, 9.5-inch radius, maple board, wide range humbucker, semi-hollow with a centre block. Is it the most unique classic build that I'm aware of? What are your thoughts? You know a Starcaster?
No.
Imagine a 335 offset with a weird headstock and wide range humbuckers.
Oh, I think I know that thing. Yeah.
Matey from the Killers plays one every now and again, I think. Dave.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, nice. Really cool. Really cool, actually. They had a bit of a resurgence over the last few years.
Yeah.
Nice.
Not a million miles away from this. I mean, it's 500,000, but not a million.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's quite a few. Jonathan Hoyer. Do you have any solo boost ideas for the loop of my EVH 5153 50-watt EL34 head? It's a buffered pedal. If it's a buffered pedal, will I still need my buffer for my effects loop pedals? Right, so Jonathan he's got an EVH 5153 50-watt one, and he wants to use a boost in the effects loop, and his question is, if it's buffered, does he still need the buffer for the rest of his effects loop?
MIFX boost and buff, really nice. The only question is headroom. I know the headroom, and that's really good. Also, there is the Fender one.
The Engager boost. Oh, the level set, yeah.
Yeah.
There is one called the Engager boost.
The Engager boost is good, yep.
Yeah, you want something with not too much overdrive in it that can take a big signal from that preamp.
Yeah.
So something with a lot of headroom.
Yeah. The Hampstead.
Yeah, Ascent.
Ascent. That's what you want.
There you go. That'll do. Does he still need a buffer for his effects loop pedals?
No.
Depends if it's true bypass.
So you've got the Ascent. You've got the option of true bypass or buffered. So if you're leaving the buffered mode, you won't need an extra buffer, and the buffer in that thing is epic.
There you go. Hampstead Ascent. The other one I'll throw into the mix, although it's a tremendously insane amount of money, is the Free the Tone boost.
Yeah.
Final booster. Paul Matulovic, only one for this week, but just had to say, keep on noodling, Dan.
Thank you, Paul.
I'm paying for a bowl of that delicious tone pasta. G Barge, hello G.
Hey,
He says, my Cali 76 is off for repair. I got a Zenith in for fun in the interim. I've got a whiny squeal if I also have the CXM 1978 on. It's frustrating until I pulled the Cali 76 18 volt lead and replaced it with 9 volt. Now it's all quiet. I'm using all gig rig power and a QMX. Ideas. So he's getting a whiny squeal with 18 volts.
Right.
And not with 9 volts.
In the Cali?
Well, when he turns the CXM 78 on.
Okay. Sorry, but this is with the Cali?
Yep.
Okay. Well, the only... Okay. I'm not exactly sure how you're doing that 18 volts, whether you're doubling up from the isolator or you've got a doubler. It's a different current draw at a higher voltage. The best thing to do is just email support@thegigrig.com and we'll go through it with you. Yeah.
Yeah, with anything like that, it's always a process of elimination and takes a minute just to break it down.
Yeah. But yeah, just give us a shout and we'll go through it with you.
Hopefully that frustration can be ended, G. Jan Krakowiak, he says, I'm doing another DIY project. So here's a brand new question. Firebird pickups or mini humbuckers on an elm-bodied 335 style?
For me, it'd be Firebird pickups every day of the week.
I just don't have enough experience of either.
I find the Firebird pickups are more akin to they're like a fatter sounding single coil. They're not P90s. They don't have the mid-range bite, but there's a clarity to them that I don't hear in mini humbuckers. I love the Firebird pickups. I think they're great.
Here's a great question from Bryson Cook. Hey Dan. He says, I'm using a humdinger for my wet dry rig. When I flip the phase button, I lose the repeats on my Volante. Is it the humdinger? I get this with the CXM 1978. It doesn't like an out of phase signal and it will cancel the reverb on one side.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
So I wonder if it's the same thing. So the good news ought to be that when the phase is correct,
you get your repeats.
You've got your repeats. If you could confirm that.
I'll have a play. I've got the Volante, so I'll have a play and let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, fascinating.
Yeah, to be followed, Bryson, because I've had a similar issue on my.
It's
almost like
really
it needs, like the pedal needs something in order for it to function properly.
Right.
I don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Again,
it's not a phase cancellation, is it?
Well,
like a straight phase cancellation. Because if they're exactly out of phase.
Well, if they're exactly out of phase, yeah, you would absolutely get that. But where's it?
We don't know.
I need to. Yeah. So if you email support at the gig rig, and when you email, include exactly how you've got everything set up, exactly where you've got the humdinger and the rig, all that stuff. Let us know and I'll go through it because that's really interesting.
Jacob Benitez says, gents, I need recommendation on a tone shaping nasally OD for use with a gainy Marshall style amp. I'm in search of a cutting lead sound as my BD2 set as a clean boost provides push but not a cutting tone.
Tube Screamer Clon.
Yeah, start with a Tube Screamer and a Clon, or a Clon, and preferably a Clon type, because it does that nasally thing, but it's not really nasally. If you want to go more nasally, actually a Rat can do that pretty well.
A Rat can, yeah.
But
treble booster?
Yes, that's what you want, is either, and if there's not enough gain in the treble booster, because a treble booster, despite the name,
it's all mids.
boost that really on the nose mids. So have a look at something like the Keeley
Java Boost.
Java Boost, the Analog Man Beano Boost,
Killer.
which would be our number one choice.
Yep.
I think not least because it's got a really nice switch on it. If you don't like it quite so nasally, but the other thing to check out is the Union Tube and Transistor Tour Bender,
Oh yeah, that's a great shout.
which is a fuzz pedal, but it's a tone bender type, and it's just got that amazing nose on it.
Yeah.
Tour bender.
Yeah,
it's
really,
called.
really cool.
And it works so great with Marshalls, I think. So there you go. 3 suggestions. The Union Tube and Transistor Tour Bender, the Keeley Java Boost, if you can find one, or the Analog Man
Beano Boost.
Beano Boost,
Yeah.
or standard Tube Screamer. But I think the Tube Screamer might be a bit flat sounding for you. Klon's good, but again, it's not really nasally and offensive
Sure.
in the way that a good treble booster is.
Indeed.
Enjoy and get your Mick Ronson on when you do it. Chris Turner, hey Chris, he says, evening. The Strat episode led me to revisit Richie Blackmore and Rory Gallagher.
Nice.
2 monster two monster Strat tones fairly apart from the Jimmy Stevie vibe. Yeah. I mean, some of those Blackmore tones especially, they are rock guitar,
Yeah, man.
aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. There's a live thing.
Yeah.
That's
The
yeah, yeah.
famous record, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. How cool. And Rory, we didn't mention Rory in the
No.
show. It was very remiss of us not to mention Rory or indeed Mark Knopfler. We even missed Jeff Beck, which is insane.
What was the band Rory was in?
Taste.
Taste. Now that is some flippin' amazing guitar sound.
Yeah.
Really, really cool.
I need to revisit it. I never liked the sound of any of the albums. I love the guitar player and I love him, but the sound of the albums I just couldn't get with, and maybe I need to revisit it with older ears.
Yeah, the Taste. Dave Gregory put me onto that, and yeah, that was really cool.
Stephen King, thoughts on a gold foil in the bridge position of a Strat type guitar? Yeah, why not? When we first met Joey, he was playing a custom build Strat with 2 gold foils.
Unbelievable sounding thing.
Didn't sound awful.
Yep. Joey in charge of the thing, so that doesn't hurt.
Yeah, he was driving. The only gold I've got 2 guitars with gold foils. One is my Collings 360 LT, which is ash body, maple neck, albeit single cut. So clearly it's no Strat, but it's not a Gibson type thing. It's much more of a Fendery type thing. And they sound killer in that guitar.
They really do.
So yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Nice.
I think it'd be really cool.
Yep.
G Barge, hello G.
Hey,
He says,
G.
addendum to the previous, I run a palette-like board
Yeah, you do.
with loads of drive pedal choices. Am I failing to consider the number of milliamps in the generator? Also, should I worry that my Father's Day gift was a pool boy t-shirt?
Generator's got 5 amps in there. No, you're fine.
You could run, you could run drive pedals all day long with that.
Yeah.
It might be that you've got some power crosstalk somewhere, though. I mean, if everything isn't like really brilliantly isolated, and you're running something that isn't perfectly isolated, then yeah, it could be a power thing.
Sorry, what was the problem?
The CXM 78 whining when he puts the compressor on 18 volts.
Oh, sorry, back to that thing. I think it's more than likely. No, it won't be. The current draw thing. It's impossible unless we have the diagram of exactly how you got everything laid out.
Yeah,
The best thing to do is just email support and we'll go through it with you and we'll find it.
should find it.
Yeah.
Brandon Sampson, he says, thank you for the inspiration and great community you've created. The community has definitely created itself, Brandon, and we are
Along
over
for
the
ride.
moon to be among it. It's we reflect on it every now and again. But the TPS crowd are blimmin', you lot are a just fantastic bunch of humans.
Amazing.
And we're lucky.
So grateful
that it exists, because as we know, there's plenty of online stuff that is not very nice or nurturing or a comfortable place to be, and it's just great.
Yeah.
I actually, very brief tangent because we do need to finish. There was a lady on this week on the Radio 4 talking about being trolled.
Right.
And I can't remember who the lady was, but I don't know. She's obviously some public figure. And she made the decision to meet some of her trolls.
Wow.
Because she just couldn't understand where this violent bile was coming from.
Right.
And she managed to track them down via various, not illicitly track them down, but through, by contacting them and saying, I'd like to meet you. And some of her most aggressive, violent, unpleasant trolls were just normal, everyday, middle-aged women who were otherwise prim and proper.
Wow.
Normal family. They just had this Jekyll and Hyde persona online, which was obviously a psychologist would have a field day with this. Psychiatrist would have a field day with it. Some venting of bile and anger.
Yeah.
And I've always thought that about trolls. I've always thought that, the stuff that they say is never the stuff they mean. It's always some venting of some inner anger rather than any sort of negativity towards the person that they're trolling. Now, neither of us want to get trolled anytime soon, and hopefully it won't happen, but it is a fact of online life that you are on the end of considerable unpleasantness sometimes.
Yeah.
Which, is a massive tangent to say we're blinking grateful for you lot just being among friends. It is like being down a massive pub.
Yeah, it's really great.
Without the fighting and the cider. And her, with her 18 millilitres of wine left. Can I sing a song?
Where's your tambourine?
Do you know any Janis Joplin? No, and neither do you. You know half a line of the chorus, and that's it. What's the third verse? You don't even know there's a third verse.
Spell Joplin.
Yeah. Anyway, Brandon Sampson says, what fuzz shall I get next? Fuzz phrase? Jam pedal fuzz phrase.
Very nice.
The Jesse Davey Kingtone Mini Fuzz GE. A sun face or something else.
If you don't have a sun face and you're after a traditional type thing, it's really hard to go past the sun face.
It is, although my choice would be the Mini Fuzz GE because you also get the zonk mode in there too.
Oh yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, that would be my choice, I think.
Right, yeah. I'll stick with the analog man.
Yeah.
I love that thing.
Yeah, and which is not to discount the Jam fuzz phrase. It is a brilliant Germanium
Killer.
fuzz face. If you want a straight Germanium fuzz face, go with that. If you want more tweakability, the bias control and that input impedance knob, which is really
That's why I love mine.
resistance, not impedance. Excuse me.
Well, it is. It's impeding the input.
It is it.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
In the sun face, then it's a bit more tweakable. And if you want some extra sound options like the Zonk Machine mode, the Mini Fuzz. But you're not going to be unhappy with any of those choices.
Yeah.
Yeah. And lastly, I believe, ATB Pop. I will just refresh this to make sure this is the last question. It's quite a good last question too, if it is. ATB Pop, it is the last question. ATB Pop says, gents, I have strats and overdrive pedals. I love tellies and fuzz. Do you have any controversial opinions on FX or gear, positive or negative? We've got so many. We could talk for the next 3 days.
Man, where do you start?
Dan doesn't do controversy.
No,
I'm using my rag as like a bullfighter. You got a problem with talk?
I think, look, everyone likes what they like, and it's really, really great that everyone likes what they like. I think you've got to be careful using your judgment calls on other people's
Yeah.
preferences.
Yeah.
That's my big thing.
Any controversial opinion that we have would be relevant to our own experience and
Exactly.
preferences. So,
Exactly.
you know, I do not like digital effects. I just don't like them. I can hear the filtering. I don't like the latency. So if it doesn't have a good analog drive-through and it's not a delay or a reverb, I'm just not interested. But that's not to say that there aren't millions of brilliant guitar players out there getting fantastic sounds and being totally filled up with their digital effects.
Yep.
Amp sims, cab sims, you know, all the rest of it. It's just a personal thing, and that personal thing boils down to play what you like and nothing else.
Yeah.
And just because I don't like it, it doesn't mean you don't like it or that I think you shouldn't like it.
Yeah. Well, that's not any good.
That's the problem with an opinion. You know, when you have an opinion, if you state an opinion, it doesn't mean that someone else's opinion is wrong.
Yeah.
It just means this is my opinion. I don't consider your opinion to be wrong, but this is my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think if TPS has one underlying point, it's that, isn't it? There are no answers, only better questions.
Yep.
And the only thing
100%.
that matters is that you love playing the guitar and you enjoy it.
Yeah.
So it's not even controversial at that point, is it? It's just an opinion.
Yeah. We filmed a show today on some practice tools, and because I've been doing some practice lately, it's been loads of fun, and just reflecting on how I just feel so fortunate and lucky to have found guitar, and how much joy it's brought to my life, and that's all we want to do is sort of share that.
Yeah.
And how whatever brings it out in you, whether it's your latest digital multi-effect or whether it's a 1960s Marshall stack.
Unless it's a 3-foot overdrive pedal.
Yeah. Whatever helps you to connect with your guitar playing and brings you joy. That's it. That's everything.
Yeah. I also think that a lot of opinion can often be conflated with how you're feeling about the guitar.
Oh, man.
And it's very hard to unpick that. There's a lot of psychology in, you know, how we all feel. I'm in a real rut at the moment about not having enough time to play, and I don't have the motivation to play, and it's like all of that's circumstantial.
Right.
All of that's really easy to sort out, and the minute you start overthinking it is the minute you start catastrophizing, and you know that's a mental health problem. It's got nothing to do with playing the guitar.
Right.
And I think then you come out with opinions like, "Oh, I just don't want to play unless I can play loud."
Right.
Or, you know, other, what do we call them? We call them life lies, right? In philosophy and psychology, it's something you tell yourself to justify something else, and it's not logical and it doesn't make any sense. So, controversial opinions. Yeah, I don't think they should have made a single guitar after 1968. I think they should have just stopped making guitars. What else? You got any other beautiful ones down? Would have saved a lot of rosewood, that's for sure.
Yeah. Celestian Blue is the only speaker that ever should be used in any amplifier ever.
I like that.
There you go.
I like that. If you can't get a 4x12 in the boot with the seat up, it's not a car.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Take it with a pinch of salt.
Yeah. If the treble booster isn't working into the front of your amp directly, your amp isn't loud enough.
That's just a fact.
That's just...
I mean, there's opinions and there are facts, right?
Boom. Very good.
Actually, the only guitar company that's allowed to exist after 1968 is Collings. That's fine. Perilous Temple wanted to ask if you were listening to Stephen Wilson's latest record and the newly released Crowded House stuff.
So, interestingly,
I didn't know about the latter.
Yeah, I've haven't listened to the whole of the Crowded House album.
Is this new or is it?
No, it's new.
Oh, okay. So post Paul Hester and all that.
Yeah. No, it's
no way.
So, it still has Nick Seymour on bass.
Yeah.
but it has his sons in the band now as well,
Right.
and long-time producer in the band as well. Stuff that I've heard, I've really liked. I haven't listened to the whole album.
Oh, I'll have listened to that.
I really liked some of Stephen's new stuff. Like some of it, I actually think is genius. I've got to digest it. So yeah, Stephen is a true artist, and he will go where the muse takes him, regardless of how his fans feel about it.
Like Kylie.
Just like Kylie. But because of Porcupine Tree, and there was this beautiful heaviness in his music, and then he had albums like The Raven That Refused to Sing, and his solo work sort of went on from that. And then after that, he went, okay, now I'm going to do a pop album.
Yeah.
And a lot of fans, there's a lot of backlash from fans of that. And Stephen's like, I don't really care. This is where I'm at the moment.
Yeah.
And the guy's just got so much integrity with what he does. I think the world of him. So, like for me personally, I could listen to Raven back to back. It's a masterpiece. Guthrie Govan's playing on that album is. If you haven't heard that album, have a listen to. There's a song called Drive Home. Have a listen to the whole song all the way through, because you need the context of the song. And then when you hear Guthrie's solo at the end, it is truly, truly astonishing. So I love that. But when I hear his pop stuff, it's wow. It's knowing that it came from the same human is like wow. The guy's just his ability to write with whatever's happening with him at the moment. It's
and
wonderful.
go with it, and have the confidence to go with it.
Absolutely.
It's so admirable, isn't it, in artists, that is.
Yep.
Cool. And Dan Cobley, Miss Super Chat, he says, I don't know if they ended up with my Super Chat. I know it wasn't a question, but I would appreciate Mick knowing that he's transformed my Strat. Well, Dan.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Cool. I don't know how it's been transformed. Maybe it's a setup thing. But thanks for letting us know. Blimey, Dan and I are here as conduits of stuff that people tell us, and we do our best to learn it a bit and pass it on.
Just a messenger, really.
Yeah.
It's another one. Bang, come on. It's got to happen.
Oh, he's confused. And that's all we do, isn't it? We share this information, and stuff comes back our way, and we try and put it out there, and we learn stuff, and it's good. If any of that has a positive effect on anybody, and you come to enjoy the guitar or music a bit more, job done.
Yeah. Bang.
Happy days.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us. This has been wonderful. We will see you.
It's been real.
Yeah, it's been real. We'll see you for the show on Friday. Not sure what this week is going to be.
It might be the £500 pedalboard challenge.
Very good.
£500 to spend on pedals. What do you buy?
Indeed. And then we'll see you next Monday, VCQ.
I bought a quarter of a clon.
Play
us out, Dan.
I bought a timeshare on a clon.
Play us out. Sing us a song.
Oh, yeah. Man, I haven't sung for so long. It'd just be an absolute nightmare.